Hi, so I'd like to show you how to use our inks when you receive them. You might have ordered our sample kit. In our sample kit, you'll get 5 different colors, and there's 2 ways to order these. You can either choose the colors from the list that we have, or you can take a picture of your skin tone and send it to us by email, and we'll mix the colors that we think are closest to your natural skin. When you receive your colors, the colors might have separated, so just make sure you shake them really well before you use them so the colors mix together. Now, when you order your inks, you'll only receive the inks. I highly recommend that you order the complete kit, either the small size or the big size, because it will make application much easier. In your complete kit, you're going to receive your thinner, which I'll show you in a bit how to use to adjust the colors, and the remover, which will make removing the ink once you apply it much easier. A double-sided sponge, which I like very much because of the porosity, gives you a smooth finish when you apply it, and a variety of different sponges that you can use, mixing wells, and even small tipped brushes for the small spots that you want to cover. You'll also receive a small sponge tip for those small dots, and a brush that we tend to use with the isolating gel. I'll discuss that later. And a mixing well that I'll show you where it comes in handy in a bit. So the isolating gel we usually recommend for people that want to cover areas that don't want to get ink on them. It's usually the nails. So you'll put it on the nails, and that way when you apply the inks, you're able to remove the isolating gel without having to worry about the color going in that area. So when you're ordering your sample inks, you'll receive them and they'll have numbers beneath them based on the ones you ordered or the ones we recommend. So in the future, if there's only one color you want, you just have to order the larger size in that same number. And here's that double-sided sponge. So the first thing you want to do is you want to place your thinner in one of your ink wells. And I would first start out with the color you think is closest to your skin, or even slightly lighter. And so you mix it really well. And if you're confident with the color, you can go ahead and place it in your mixing well. And if you're unsure and want to test it out, I would recommend placing it directly on the sponge tip. So the first thing you want to do is you want to dip your sponge in your thinner to moisten it. Otherwise it will suck up all the color and you won't be able to apply it anywhere. And then you want to dab the excess moisture off somewhere on a towel or a tissue. Now I'm going to test the first color, and I'm just going to place a few drops on the sponge tip, drop off the excess, and then just kind of dab it on my skin to see how close it matches. Okay, it's very quick to dry, so I'll just wait for it to dry, and then I'll test the color. Now that's a pretty close color to my natural skin, and if you find the color that matches to your satisfaction, then you can continue to order that number in the larger sizes. Now, let's assume that it's a little bit similar but slightly off, then I can go ahead and mix it with any of the other colors. So let's say I need to darken it a little bit. I'm close, but a little bit darker. I would go ahead and add the dots, and I'd go to the next color up that's a little bit darker. And I would go ahead and add a drop or two. Okay, I can go ahead and mix it. And in the same manner, go ahead and dab it. Now if it's too light, you can add extra layers on your old ones and it will become darker. Just make sure it's not too thick, otherwise it will flake off and kind of crack and not look very nice. So let's say I'm happier with this color, and from now on I'm only going to use these 2 colors. What I would highly recommend doing is to remember how many drops I usually use. So let's say I tend to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drops of number 1 and I use 3 drops of number 2, 1, 2, 3, I would remember that combination, and then when I place my order in the future, I would just write that combination in the notes, and what I would do is I will pre-mix that ratio into a larger size, either 30 or 60 milli, and just send you your custom mixture. Now, as you can see, once the inks are colored, they are smudge proof even on the whitest of cloths, and also waterproof. So you can put it in water and it won't go away. Now, depending on where on your body you're going to be placing it, it may last from 3 days up to even 5 days. Hands tend to last a little bit less because we wash our hands more often. So you can always maybe take a small, inkwell with you and a sponge, and you can just do your touch-ups as needed. The other thing I would say to be aware of are your joints, such as knuckles, elbows, knees. When you go ahead and apply it, you're going to be bending your finger and you're going to put a thin layer, because what happens is when you flex back, the skin is going to come together and it will become darker. So you always want to be a little bit lighter on your joints. And so that's the way I would recommend you use your sample inks. And once you're happy with your colors, you can just go ahead and order the single colors in larger sizes for future orders.